The choir loft of St. Mark's Catholic Church had long been sealed, nailed shut, painted over, left to rot beneath the weight of decades of silence. The floorboard still bore faint stains, the kind that even time couldn't wash away. In 1962, 9-year-old Carolyn Doherty vanished after choir practice. Her father found her hours later, lying beneath the organ bench, her white dress torn, her small hands clenched tight. Inside one fist, police recovered a scrap of fabric. Too small to identify, too sacred to question. The town of Bristol never forgot the horror, but they learned to stop talking about it. The church was repainted, the loft closed, and the case folder placed deep in a dusty cabinet marked unsolved. Detective Ellie Brooks knew the story well. She had grown up just 2 towns over, hearing whispers of the church girl who never came home. Her grandmother, one of the parish volunteers, had been there that night, the one who found Carol's lost shoe on the stairwell, its leather strap broken clean in 2. For Ellie, this case wasn't a headline. It was history, her history. But when she joined the Bristol Police Department in 2024, no one cared for old ghosts. She was too new, too idealistic, too willing to dig where no one else wanted to look. Her captain, Chief Dalton, a man who measured authority in cigars and condescension, called her rookie with a hobby. "Brooks," he'd sneer, "you think you're going to fix 60 years of bad policing with a lab report? You want to play detective, do it on your own time." And yet, every night, when the office lights dimmed and the real detectives went home, Ellie stayed. She'd pull out the cold case boxes, each one labeled with a single date and nothing more. And at the very bottom, wrapped in yellow tape, she found it. Case number 621104, Carolyn Doherty. The evidence inside was pitiful. One faded crime scene photo, a torn hymnal page, a small piece of fabric sealed in brittle plastic, and a suspect list written by typewriter, janitors, choir directors, priests, most long dead. But one name caught her eye, William Schrader, 26 at the time, a church volunteer and Army veteran. He'd been questioned once, then released. No DNA evidence, no witnesses, no confession. The report said simply, insufficient cause for further inquiry. Ellie read that line a dozen times. It didn't feel like a conclusion. It felt like a cover-up. She filed a formal request to reopen the case. The chief laughed. "You really think the mayor wants to reopen a child murder in a Catholic church? You'll stir up more ghosts than justice." But Ellie didn't ask for permission twice. She signed the transfer order herself, under her own name, and sent the old fabric scrap for DNA analysis. Her partner, Detective Reggie Hayes, a veteran with 25 years on the force, tried to warn her. "Ellie, you're putting your career on the line. Dalton won't back you up. He's got friends in the parish council, old ties. You don't dig around in graves like this unless you're ready to be buried too." "I'm not after ghosts," she said. "I'm after the one thing that doesn't die, the truth." Weeks passed. Then came the call. "Detective Brooks," the lab technician whispered, "we got a match. Partial, but strong enough. It's a familial hit. To a William Schrader Jr., his father's records show, he served in Bristol around the same time the murder occurred." Ellie's heart hammered. After 63 years, Carolyn Doherty had named her killer. From the grave, through the evidence she refused to let go of. She drove through the night to meet Schrader Jr., now in his 70s, living in a small Pennsylvania nursing home. He was frail, his voice barely a whisper, but when she showed him the photo of the old church choir, his eyes filled with tears. "My father," he said, "was a hard man, angry. He told me once, when I was 15, that he'd done something terrible, something no one could forgive. I never knew what he meant. He said it happened in a church." Ellie pressed record on her phone. "Did he ever mention Carolyn Doherty?" He nodded slowly. He said her name, just once, and then he cried. It was all the proof she needed. Confession, DNA, motive, the trifecta of truth. But when she brought her findings to Chief Dalton, he exploded. "You went behind my back. You used departmental funds on a case I closed. You think the mayor's going to thank you for dragging a dead man through the mud." "I think Carolyn's family deserves the truth," Ellie said. The truth, Dalton spat, is what we say it is. The department tried to bury the story. Again. But this time, Ellie wasn't 9 years old, and she wasn't scared of men who wore badges like crowns. She made one call to Mara Quinn, an investigative journalist who had once exposed a state corruption ring. Within 24 hours, the story hit every major outlet in the country. Cold case solved. Detective uncovers 63-year-old murder at St. Mark's Church. Killer identified as volunteer and Army veteran. By the next morning, the Bristol Police Department's phones were ringing off the hook. Reporters crowded the station. The mayor issued a statement. And Chief Dalton, forced to stand beside Ellie for the cameras, could barely fake his smile. Detective Brooks' persistence has brought long-awaited justice, he said, his voice tight. Ellie said nothing. She didn't need to. The evidence spoke louder than any man in that room ever could. 2 days later, she visited Carol's brother, Michael Dougherty, now in his 70s. His hands trembled as he read the official report. Tears rolled down his weathered cheeks. For 60 years, he said, I thought God forgot her. Ellie placed a hand on his shoulder. He didn't. You just needed someone to listen long enough to hear her voice. The following Sunday, the church reopened its choir loft. Sunlight poured through stained glass onto the polished wood. Ellie stood beside the pulpit as Michael lit a white candle in Carol's memory. No speeches, no applause, just silence, the kind that heals instead of hides. Outside, the church bells rang for the first time in decades. Each toll carried to the town like a heartbeat. In that moment, Ellie felt it. The tables had turned. The men who silenced her were now silent themselves, forced to watch as the truth they buried rose from the ground. Justice wasn't loud. It was patient, and it had been waiting all along in a little girl's clenched fist. Moral: never underestimate the person they laugh at, ignore, or push aside. The ones dismissed as too emotional are often the ones who see the truth clearest. Power can hide the truth for a time, but persistence and conscience always bring it back into the light.